LSD, TCB, MDMA, Nexus, LSD, TCB, MDMA, Nexus, LSD, TCB, MDMA, Nexus, LSD, TCB, MDMA.
Grown Folks Production. In the mix. With the commish, Nate.
All right, welcome into Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL, the world's oldest and longest online CFM, and we are wrapping things up. Let me get my buddies in here. Actually, I just got one buddy right now, but the rest are on their way. Which one of these do I want to do? I think these are the one that I want to do. That is what I'm trying to get up here. Mr. Big Hurt, how you doing tonight, bud?
Doing well, doing well.
The cycle, it's all over. It's wrapped up. What
It
is
is
that? Oh, my goodness. Hold on one sec. My phone. I was like, who's talking to me? My phone just randomly started playing the last YouTube video I was on. I was listening to a podcast. And it's like just randomly started playing it. That was weird. Man, the cycle's all over, and I want to do some looking back at exactly how things went this last Madden cycle. So we're going to run through a couple of questions, but just to get us going, man, how was the cycle for you? You got a hold of a brand new team? Wait, did you move teams twice or once this cycle, or did you start? You didn't start with the Vikings, did you?
No, I moved once. I started off with the Falcons. Maniac and I was Buffalo at the beginning of the cycle, pre-launch of the game, and I swapped with him to take the Falcons, and then Niceonger and I'm trying to think of his name, Fleury. Yeah, Fleury. We did a 3-team trade, I think season 3, right around Christmas time, or the New Year-ish, right around there. We did a 3-team trade where I got the Vikings, Fleury got his Falcons, and then Niceonger went to the Jags. All kind of started off with Niceonger really just saying he didn't really like to make a lot of the tough decisions with some of his players of his favorite team. And then Fleury obviously wanted his favorite team. And I was like, yeah, I'd be interested in playing with Justin Jefferson. So I took the Vikings, and honestly been really happy with the Vikings, and have no intentions of leaving them anytime soon.
Yeah, it was a weird cycle for me. I don't know if this this chat is working, but everything else is working. We're still working out some like little kinks here and there. I stayed up literally till 2:30 this morning trying to fix something that broke. So I don't know if the chat's working. We'll see if we can get this figured out here in just a little bit. But I think the cycle was a weird one. It felt like it was a step in the right direction, but not a full step in the right direction. And I felt like the game overall played better, but there was a learning curve there. At least for me, there was a learning curve, and it took me a bit to figure out how to start to put together a team. And I think also I own my favorite team, and it is tough to realize when your favorite team is in a real life rebuild and you need to hit the rebuild button on the team in Madden. That can be really difficult, because we got one of our new buddies here. Mr. Maniac's joining us fresh off of some Jesus Church. Glad that he's able to join us. Let me get you added in here. Oh, there we go. Randy's in the chat. Daniel's in the chat, so it is working. Thank you guys for hanging out. Let me get Mr. Maniac in here. Maniac, how was church, buddy?
It was good, man.
I have not had Sunday night church in like 15 years. The communities I've always been a part of stopped doing Sunday night church like almost 20 years ago. So it is, my mom still goes to like a little bit like of an older school church though that does the Sunday night service. Let me get you added in here. While I'm getting you added in here though, we were talking about just the overall vibe for you for Madden 25. How was the cycle?
I mean, it wasn't terrible, but And I mean, I guess it could have been better. Maybe I could have done something better myself to adjust. Um,
When you say better, does that mean like make more than one OMFL bowl game?
maybe win one at least. No,
I was gonna say you made it to more bowl games than me and Nate combined.
That is
no,
absolutely true. In the last two
that is
Madden
true.
cycles, that's still true.
But I don't know. I just got a bad taste in my mouth with how my team performed later on those last 3 seasons. I couldn't even get to the playoffs. It just uh, seemed like each year I got worse instead of getting better. That's always not a good sign. Being competitive, you want to build from the ground up, or if you're already on the pinnacle, you want to try to stay at the pinnacle. And I wasn't able to do that. So to me, that's a failed season. So, um, but I mean, overall, the game was okay. It had its. Uh, I say this now, tongue in cheek, that Madden was a better game than college football, even though I love college football. Um, but I'm hoping that both of them can be good in 26 and be something where you're not fighting the game constantly, trying to get things to work or settings or this and that. Especially speaking the college football side, because I know Madden was a lot more, I guess, well-rounded overall. But I mean, for that's my personal experience. Now, for as the standpoint of the community, I think it was an awesome Madden cycle. Seemed like guys that hadn't made the playoffs made the playoffs. Roger, I talked about Roger so many times. Roger has been one of those guys that drafts so well every Madden. We always envy him in the drafts because he gets really good players, builds a great team, but he can't ever get them to the playoffs. And this Madden he got to the playoffs and was very competitive, especially the last 2 or 3 seasons. So that's just one of many that you kind of seen. And I think the parity in the playoffs, Bird now being the only one that won the bowl game twice this cycle, is kind of an eyebrow raiser a little bit. But that's still he's one of the guys that just made it, and he won it back to back, and so you got to give him some love for that.
I want to describe from each of you, like in one word, what's the one word you would use to talk about Madden 25? And as you do that, I'm going to talk about the champions really quick. So we started off with the Dallas Cowboys and Dwayne winning his first bowl game in, I think, a couple of different cycles. He hasn't won one in quite some time. Matter of fact, I got it pulled up right now. He hasn't won one since Madden. Oh my goodness. Would we have to go all the way back to, let's see, this is Madden 25, 24, 23. Madden 22 is the last time that Dwayne won a championship. Now he's a multi champion here around here, but he finally won. He won. That was against Mr. Maniac, an epic game right there in season, what would that have been? 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, season 111. Season 112 seen the Tennessee Titans coming really out of nowhere. I mean, he had a young team that had to get rebuilt coming off of that first season. He had a great draft in that offseason and built those guys up to be superstars. He had 2 superstar wide receivers. He got Love in there. He had a superstar X Factor free safety that was making plays. Kobe went
I hated
on
that dude.
a heck of a ride. He made a play late in your game to end up beating you in the AFC Championship as you got to 2 back-to-back AFC Championships. Season, what would have been 113, seeing the Chicago Bears, another team coming from out of nowhere. Colin put it all together in season 113, building off of a great draft class from Madden 24 that brought over a ton of really good imports and already a very good young team. Built a lot of superstars around that quarterback, had an outstanding run game, but a really fast and athletic defense that led him to the championship. I want to say against the Ravens and Coach Nipples. Was that who we had in 113?
I believe that's correct.
I'm pretty sure that was correct. And then you said it, 114, 115, another out of nowhere team, the Carolina Panthers and Bird, a team that is clearly in the rebuild in real life, but he was able to bring over really good imports, put together a great run game. He got his quarterback able to make amazing plays. One of the higher efficiency quarterbacks when healthy for the OMFL, a guy that was able to just play call his way to a championship, a great defensive game against the Dallas Cowboys in season 114, ends up getting to the bowl game and picking up a victory there. And then this year, not having as strong of a season, but both times coming out of that, I think, fourth seed to win the championship, had to have a comeback from behind victory against the Dallas Cowboys in the conference round, ends up facing the Chicago Bears in the championship, absolutely blows the doors off of him, finds him way to the championship, beats, I almost said Logan. Was it Logan? I'm drawing a blank. Who did he play against the championship this past year? Not Logan. Cincyberg. My goodness. Cincyberg and the Jets sitting right in front of me. Another team that had an outstanding season in season 115. So that was our champions, the Dallas Cowboys, the Tennessee Titans, the Chicago Bears, the Carolina Panthers, Coach Dwayne, Coach Kobe, Coach Colin, Coach Bird, winning all 5 of the championships here in season 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 of Madden 25. So what is the one word that you would use to describe Madden 25? I'm going with competitive. I know that it was a little bit of an up and down cycle, one in which we sort of had to find our footing in different ways. But I think overall, the word that I would use would be competitive. We've seen 3 teams win championships that came really out of nowhere to build really good teams, not always the number 1 seed. We've seen some epic games in the playoffs. Competitive is the word I'm going with. Big Hurt, what's the word you would use to describe Madden 1 or Madden 25?
Well, I was sitting here thinking as you asked that question, and I was like newcomers, but a lot of these guys aren't newcomers; they're just new champions. So the word I'm settling on is parity, and I just think the word parity kind of defines what the OMFL has been recently, but as a whole, but also as champions for this year. We had a lot of guys that brought back either, like you said, Dwayne's been three Maddens roughly. Like he's always there, but he finally kind of, put himself back in that ring of honor. But then we had, Kobe, who's always in the talks, and then Colin, and then Bird, and then, with 2 to close it out. But then even since he putting his name back in the mix of things. So I think parity just kind of sums it up for me.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking along the same lines, which is kind of weird, but I kind of thought maybe one of y'all might say that, and so I kind of went with something else. I think the thing that goes along with parity and what Nate was talking about as well is steady. We were just very consistent. I think that would be another word that you could throw in there. But just the overall, the league, and that's one of the things about the OMFL, even though, Madden, we've seen 2 or 3 Maddens ago where everybody hated that game. That game was like the worst game. I say it every time, like this game is the worst, but no, that game was the worst. It was horrible. That was the most horrible game they ever put together. But definitely, when you look at the league, how it's structured, and the way this Madden played, I think it was very steady. And I think it was something where if you looked at it, everybody had a portion of the game either early on in the season, early on the cycle, or later on the cycle where they actually enjoyed it, got better. Uh, you know, again, it may have changed as the cycle went, but I think along the lines, everybody had something that they actually enjoyed about this game throughout the entire cycle.
What up, Birdman? Congratulations again on 2 back-to-back championships. What a great photo right there on the opening page of our Neon Sports League. Let's talk about some of our favorite teams that either came out of nowhere, teams that you enjoyed either watching or playing against. I think there were a handful for me that we could really start to pick apart, but I want to give a shout out to a team that could easily be overshadowed because it took him a couple of seasons to get things put together and did not play as well as he expected when we got to the playoffs. But I got to talk about the Cleveland Browns and not the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry. I always get them flip-flopped in my head. But the Cincinnati Bengals, which was Coach Little Koch, he put together such an epic team. I'm going to look at a couple things here on Neon Sports. Now, this has all been cleared because we did our last draft and then moved over into the new season as we're going to kind of sit there and wait. But this team played absolutely amazing. His quarterback was the guy that we all laughed about. We all sort of made fun of, but that quarterback was amazing. I'm trying to get to his depth chart here to bring him up, but
Duncan.
where's Duncan? He's not even on the team right now.
Oh no, did he get cut?
Oh no, is he not bringing him over? Maybe Little Koch will get that figured out. We got to figure out where Duncan is. Let's do a quick search here. Duncan. But
Where
yeah,
in the world is Duncan?
he's in free agency. Josh Duncan, yes, you see that right, 6'3", 298-pound lefty, I think. The hefty lefty. Am I wrong about that?
I believe he's right-handed.
No, he's a right-hander. Either way. Oh, it says that he retired. I don't think that that's right there. I think that's got to be a typo. But Josh Duncan, he gets this guy late in one draft. He was picked 63 or around. No, that's not right either. It was around 63, 177. He was picked out of Jackson State. He was picked super late. He built him up. X Factor takes the place of drawing another
Joe
blank.
Burrow.
Joe Burrow, I should remember that name. It's late on a Sunday. Takes the place of Joe Burrow, ends up bringing this team to a number 1 seed, an outstanding season, led behind a great receiving core, a solid run game. He's got speedsters everywhere. Man, Little Koch knows how to call a really good game. I think that was a really fun team here to watch in season 115. What about you guys? Favorite team to either play, watch, talk about? You can even talk about your own team if you want to. Some of your favorite teams here in Madden 25.
Maniac, you can go first.
Well, thank you, sir.
That's code word for I don't know yet, and I still need time to think, so I'm going to say it first.
Really, truly, honestly, I have to look inside my own division. I think all those guys I played in the AFC East were fun to play. They were always really competitive games. It didn't matter if Massimo was 3-12 or whatever, going on into a game. It was like always a fight to the end in those games. And but I think the one team that I really enjoyed watching was how Cincy Berg took the Jets. So the Jets are one of those teams where they got good pieces, but they also have some really bad pieces. And he did transform that team, had some really great drafts. And I told him, like, after the second season when I went to the playoffs, the championship game and I lost to Kobe, I was like, man, you're building something good with that team. Those Jets are young, and they're starting to really come together. And man, you see him there at the last season make the push into the playoffs and in the bowl game. So I think that's just one of the teams I really did enjoy watching build because, again, like I said, it's one of those things where you kind of take notice, like a team, they get a kind of a bad team and they build them into something and they really mold that team into kind of their vision. Again, there's probably 20 guys I could really mention. I think Joker also taking the Cardinals and getting them very competitive over there with D Money and all those guys. That's another team you could look at. But I think from my standpoint, though, really deeply looking into it because the Jets were in my division, I had to see what they were doing. And Of course, I didn't like what they were doing because they were getting very competitive and very good. But I thought it was really impressive what he did with that team.
McDimes isn't even on his
Nick
team.
Dimes.
So evidently he's not bringing McDimes with him. He's over on the Browns. I have a feeling in my Nuggets that some way, somehow, these guys are going to, wake up from amnesia of this summer. They're going to get the sand out of their eyes and their ears, and they're going to go, oh, no, I messed up. I want to get that guy back. I want to bring him over. I'm going to be like, we're going to have so much junk to get back in here and fix. But McDimes is currently not on that roster. What about you, Big Hurt? Some of your favorite teams?
So some of my favorite teams, I think I could list a few, and I'll just throw out a few, but I'll then touch base on my one that I really is kind of my focus. But the Panthers, I think Bird takes a Panthers team that is not very strong out of the box at all, and the Panthers he quietly put, I wouldn't say quietly, but kind of under the radar for a while, and then everybody knew about it. That defense was crazy. Probably one of the better defenses I've seen and played against. Speed, strength, just physicality.
Cincinnati's quarterback is on the Panthers right now, so you can see guys did not even care about re-signings, and so this is all screwed up.
But I would say the Panthers for sure with Bird. Roger with the Texans was fun to watch, have him have success. I mean, Maniac's talked about that. For me, I would also say Colin with the Bears built a pretty solid team.
Absolutely.
With I think it was year 1 and 2, and then kind of into year 3, and then from there on out had one of the most dominating teams this entire cycle. And the reason I let Maniac go first is because I knew we'd have some similarities, but the Jets were a team that I enjoyed watching, since you and I have known each other for quite some time. And so I kind of always, keep a close eye on him, just knowing him from outside the game and Madden and everything in the community. But he did his thing with that team, and it was impressive. And then the last team that I'm going to throw out there, and then I'm going to touch base on my my go-to team was Logan as an owner.
Yeah.
With the 2 LA teams. He did his thing with the Rams, and then he switched over to the Chargers. Chargers are a little bit better when he got them than what he had with the Rams, and he built that squad. But the fact that he had success with both teams was crazy, and I think he had a really, really good cycle with the 2 LA teams. I actually would have liked to see what he would have done in the division with Meek Boy, Joker. Obviously he went 14-3 this last season, but I think the AFC West for him is a little bit easier to the fast track of winning that division than being in the NFC West, where you got to play Meek Boy, Joker, and D Money. And I thought that would have just been a really fun division battle to watch. I'm not going to complain that he moved over to the AFC because that's one less person since the NFC is pretty deep. But for the team that I think that would say for me that I enjoyed the most was the Colts. And I just think the Colts are a squad that doesn't have a lot. They have a really young quarterback. They have Jonathan Taylor, but outside of that, it's like Pittman's a possession receiver, not the sexy type of guy or receiver that a lot of guys in this league want to have. He's more of a tight end build in a way. And then defensively, they have some pieces, but they're not great. And Randy took his team, does his little voodoo magic that he puts on teams as an owner and builds really just a dominant team, had success year in, year out. And it's kind of ironic because I think it was last cycle he was the Orlando Condors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you gonna keep the Colts? Because I'm thinking man, that's another rebuild, starting all over. You built that team, and are you gonna redo, kind of start fresh and do another whole rebuild? And he was like, yeah, I plan on keeping the Colts, and I'm like, holy smokes, I don't know if I would have signed myself up for that. And then here he is, just signed. he just kind of like locks in, saddles up, and just builds another squad. And so I think I enjoyed watching his ability to be an owner and a GM and just kind of build a squad with what he started with. I think that was the Panthers have some younger talent that progresses well.
Right.
I think Jonathan Taylor is obviously a really good back to start with, but outside of that, it's kind of like there's some pieces that you can pick and choose, but I think quarterback and everything, like, it really it's hard to build a team when you're stuck with some pieces that some teams have, and he didn't shy away from that. So that was fun to watch.
According to Neon Sports, the Broncos and the Lions each have over $4 billion with a B to spend. So congratulations to those guys for just figuring out the code and winning Madden 25. That's got to be some kind of typo. But I do have to nod to a couple of teams. Seattle Seahawks and Meat Boy, right? Such a fun team offensively to watch. A lot of playmakers on defense. Meat, as we've talked about a lot, just isn't able yet to create the luck that I use luck very loosely. He called it bad luck, but he creates good luck during the season. He's been able to do that in the playoffs. And so Meek Boy, another very consistent season. One of the top 3 winning coaches here this past cycle. The New England Patriots and lost. He had a really hot cycle to start off with, sort of got away with him there towards the end of the cycle, but we've seen him play pretty consistent football. The Tennessee Titans and what Kobe did, life kind of happened for him, and so he had to sort of take a step back later in the cycle, but early in that cycle, he looked to be a problem that a lot of people are going to have to deal with, and he made a trade in that after that second season, when he won the title, with another team that I think quietly went under the radar in Penguins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really consistent in the AFC, but like Meek, didn't make a ton of noise in the playoffs. When we look at Denver, when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, very consistent teams. And then Nipples. I think Nipples quietly had a fantastic cycle, and he was in the top 5 of the AFC every single season. Just didn't really make that solid push to win a championship, though he was right there at the end in multiple seasons. I think all of those are teams that you got to look at and say, man, those were really consistent teams here in this past cycle that you got to talk about whenever you're thinking about the top teams here in the OMFL. I want to talk about impact players, and then we can kind of wrap it up when we look at who might be coming into Madden 26, and then we'll wrap things up. There's no anything else for us to look at, so we're just going to kind of talk about there's no mailbag questions for us to unpack. So some of your impact players, I think you have to talk about some of the receivers that we've seen come into Madden 25. Madden 25 literally could be known for the cycle of the wide receiver, whether it was in New York, whether it was in Chicago, whether it was in Baltimore, whether it was in San Francisco. We just seen the Houston Texans. That guy's been doing it for a long time. My Saints and Hal. Tons of really, really good receivers. And I don't know that you could pick just one, even though the Jets had an outstanding 2 seasons to wrap up the cycle. I think you just put a bunch of guys in a big bucket and just kind of pull one. This was the season of the wide receiver. What about you guys? When you think of top tier players in the OMFL for Madden 25, who are some of the top tier players?
I think you look at the quarterbacks. I think there was a lot of good quarterbacks that came that were imports. McDimes was one that got imported over into this Madden. Rusty Starr definitely was one of the guys that was always kind of talked about in the spotlight. He's just one of those guys that everybody wished they had, and I think the Dolphins too. I mean, I'm talking like a lot of from the AFC East. He brought over that Joe Duke, I think it was. the guy that you found in the draft that was
Yeah, I
that was
did.
a wide receiver, but he was actually a quarterback or whatever. Um, yeah, there was a lot of good quarterbacks that I think that came through. But I like what you talking about the wide receivers. I mean, um, those guys were so impactful. You look at the season that Kobe won. He had the wide receiver that he drafted, the big possession guy. I'm trying to think of his name, but he drafted him, and he was a rookie. Collins, I think, is his name, Joe Collins.
Bobby Freeman and Joe Collins.
Yeah, both those
But
guys. Go ahead.
Bobby Freeman was the guy that he had. I think that was the guy that you're trying to think of.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was one of those guys, but he kind of took over the game on offense against me. I could never seem to get him corralled, and he was always open. And then you looked at again with what Colin did with the Bears. He goes on to the Super Bowl, and he's got his superstar wide receiver that he's got, and he's making plays, and we always kid around saying he force fed the guy, but that guy was so impactful. And then I think one that doesn't get really talked about a whole lot, Nipples, that the wide receiver he had that he got was really fast, and he got him out of that draft, and it seemed like after he got that guy on his team, he was just like a different player on offense, and he was just really kind of took it to the next level. Trying to think of his name.
I was trying to find it really quick.
Neon Sports here. Quentin Copeland.
Copeland, that's it.
That dude was. I played him last season, and that dude just absolutely ripped me a new one. He was constantly open. I couldn't cover him. I had my best DB on him, trying to cover with the safety or the linebacker underneath him, and
That guy was super fast.
Yeah, he just gets out of the break really quick. But those wide receivers, I think if you look at it, everybody came in that Madden. I think with the intent, if you look at a lot of the guys, they brought either quarterbacks, wide receivers, or cornerbacks. And I think one thing, if you look in this Madden, that may, if you reflect on it, I don't think the cornerback was as big a factor as some of these wide receivers that were
absolutely agree.
Big time players and stuff. So maybe there is going to be a shift over, especially going into this next Madden, where the wide receiver is going to be kind of like the new thing to the new fad in the OMFL.
Big Hurt in his squeaky chair. We have to get him to learn that mute button over there. My goodness, I thought that thing was behind me. I was checking behind me. What up, Jake? Thanks for hanging out. You're watching the podcast for the OMFL, world's oldest and longest online CFM. Starting 2001, still going strong today. We had 27 99 overall players in the OMFL by the end of the cycle. That's a little too many. So maybe that's something we got to look at. A lot of those were going to be imports that came here already inflated, and they got a lot of time put into them. A lot of them are going to be quarterbacks, receivers, and cornerbacks. Those are going to be some of the main positions that you've seen. But I think another one under the radar before I go to Big Hurt is going to be middle linebacker. We've seen some really good middle linebackers, whether it was the Dallas Cowboys, the Carolina Panthers, the Baltimore Ravens, and Nipples had an outstanding one. Chicago Bears had a really good one. There were some really good middle linebackers this past cycle. And with the changes to the defense in Madden 26, I'm going to be interested to see if that is a trend that we see to continue to trend up, and maybe someone to make a play after that old Jaguars middle linebacker that owns just about every defensive record in the OMFL. What about you, Big Hurt? Players that made an impact or that you thought were really fun to watch this past cycle?
The couple that stick out to my mind, we're talking about receivers: Bayless for the Browns, Earl Lowry for the Jets. You guys hit it with Copeland, and I can't think of the dude's name from the Bears, um, but a lot of those guys made big impacts. I think for me, we can also throw out there Chance McMullen for the Cowboys, the running back.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
the way D Wayne plays, like using a running back, like that guy was, a different breed. And to put him in a user's hands that like D Wayne that uses a running back like he does, that guy was huge, huge for. But the quarterback for the Eagles that was drafted, I think 2 drafts ago, I think he's going to be an importable player or should be an importable player. That guy was like one of the best Madden generated players I've seen in a long time. I'm trying to pull it up. What his name was, Danny Dixon, and that dude has like 97 speed at quarterback. Like, but he can also throw. Like that's just the crazy part. So I think those guys stand out. But then another guy that stood out to me was the running back. I think Montel Meadows, if I have his name right, for the Cardinals.
Oh yeah.
Um, just the way Joker plays and like stretches the field vertically with this fast receiver. You find those guys like a DeMarco for the Texans. You find these guys that have speed and they can be a 68, but if they can just run a deep route, they're gonna have some success. But then you put a running back like Meadows in that offense with Joker, and that's just so when I played him, I was like, man, it's kind of like a pick your poison. Do you try and shut the run game down, or do you try and keep the vertical game shut down? And so I think he built a really good team. Obviously, with Meek Boy in the division, having the secondary he had, that was just kind of a fun matchup to watch as well. But for me, those are the kind of players that stick out. I also we talked about all offensive guys. And defensively, I think we can't forget about a couple of those guys. And for me, defensively, not a Madden generated player, but Priest used Lucas Van Ness like pretty
Oh,
well. And
absolutely.
the cornerback for the Seahawks, I just talked about it. Tariq Woolen, I think, is the one. He had a pretty good year. And then it just depend on like who Nipple was using, but he always played well with his secondary. And then the safety, when Kobe made his OMFL bull run, that guy was insane. But then he trades him to the Steelers, and I was like kind of blown away by that move. I don't know. And one thing I'd like to maybe open up is Calvin Graham. That's his name.
Yeah.
But I think for me, that might be the most shocking move of the cycle was when he trades Calvin Graham. And then, or the other one that kind of threw me for a loop at the time was when Meek Boy got rid of DK Metcalf. I don't know which one kind of threw me for a loop more, but I think both of those moves were just really, really like kind of, I don't know, knee jerking moves in a way, kind of like those are founding pieces of your team. And for Kobe, he made an OMFL bull run and basically got there because of that Calvin Graham guy. And then he just basically was like, yep, I'm going to let him go. And I was like, what? Like that guy single-handedly won you a playoff game. So there were some moves there that were shocking. But I think some of those guys are the guys that just stand out.
I think some would call that in insider trading.
Maybe.
Either way, he did get him another one that he rebuilt pretty quickly. I think what makes that trade look even worse is real life happened to Kobe. He just sort of went away the rest of the cycle. and we never really seen that Titans team make another run, and so it makes that trade look even worse. And to be honest, Penguins, even though he had some solid seasons, was never able to really make a solid run. Let's look at the draft really quick. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you can see the first round right up here. Any of these guys you think have a real chance of being imports to come over into Madden 26? The last draft's always interesting. I think a lot of people take pop shots, they just take flyers. What if maybe I strike gold and I can find somebody that I just can't say no to? But then I think a lot of guys in the last cycle did take a lot of players from that last draft. How do you guys view it? And do you see any of these players coming with us over to Madden 26?
Really, I think a lot of the guys were taking flyers on some, maybe attributes or whatever. I know, talking to Night Songer, I know he was really wanting the cornerback that Green Bay took, and so those two actually were pretty nice picks, and I'm pretty sure those guys. You never know what Priest is thinking, but I'm pretty sure that guy's going to come over. Woodson's going to come over. Lloyd Leak, that was drafted by Philadelphia, I really don't think he's coming over. I think it was just there's going to be. I think there's a potential for quite a few of these guys to be imports. For if they're going to be an impact player, probably looking just kind of quickly at the top 15. I would say probably like Dickerson and Woodson have probably the chance to make the most impact.
Yeah,
the quickest. I know Bill was really excited about the right tackle that he took, and he ended
highest
up being like
overall player.
Yeah, 81 hidden. So he kind of lucked out and had that little Koch lineman moment in the draft where he drafted back-to-back highest rated players at offensive line. So that guy's got potential to help the New York Giants. I'm sorry. But I definitely know one of these guys is coming over, and that Adrian Boone that I took, the wide receiver, 97 speed, 97 acceleration. So he's definitely
it's
coming
kind of
over.
nice to have.
Yeah, that's those things that kind of make a difference, difference makers and stuff. And I think that's what a lot of guys were looking at in this draft. If you had a guy that you thought could be a potential difference maker, I mean, the 97 speed, 97 acceleration, and also I think he had 99 agility. So quick in and out of routes and stuff. That's going to be this guy's ability, and so like those type of things guys are looking at in this draft and thinking like, okay, I've got this guy I'm taking and that guy I'm taking. Now I've got one spot left over, maybe two spots left over, and I'm going to try to see if I can get the fastest guy here, or maybe the strongest defensive tackle, or like in Bill's case where he took a really good offensive lineman that's going to probably be imported over.
Do y'all care about age before Big Hurt tells me any of these players he likes? Y'all care about age? Because the way I sort of look at it, even if you let's just use the example that let's look at the whole first round. The oldest player is 24. Even if we play 5 full cycles, I mean, he's going to be 29, 30. You still got a player that is at the top of the game. Most guys are going to fall 21, 22, maybe 23. But even at 23, you're talking a 28-year-old or so before we wrap up that cycle. Does age matter to you when it comes to the last draft?
I think for me, it does, just depending on the position. And like if there's a guy comparable at that position, like if you have 2 corners or 2 quarterbacks, 2 receivers, and let's say one's 23 and one's 21, and you feel good about both of them, I'm probably going to stick with the like 21-year-old, just because one, I can get that guy 4 years, 25, re-sign him, or 5 years, let's say he's 26, re-sign him, and kind of make him a two Madden type of importable player. Whereas if it's 23, he's still young. You're going to get 5 years out of him. But then it's like at that age of 28, 29, you're like, do I re-sign him for a 3, 4? If he's asking for 5 years, that puts him at 32, 33. That's a big difference than finishing up at 30 or 31. So I think those like can definitely change one's view or one's idea. But at the same time, like I said, if it's you feel good about one player and that's a position you of need, and let's say the guy's 23 and the next guy that you feel good about is 20, 21, and he's not really as good on your scouting or you don't feel as strong about him, then I'm probably going to stick with a 23-year-old.
This is how interesting this podcast is right now. Big Hurt's got to play MLB just to stay awake, just to stay engaged, because we are just blowing the doors off with the energy here tonight. Maniac, what about ages for you, bud?
Age for me is important because one, I'm looking to make a 2-cycle player. I had that with Shepard. I had that with Bolden. Those guys were basically 2-cycle players for me. So now, if I know for a fact that 23-year-old is going to be a hidden dev and possibly the highest rated overall, and I really need a player on the team that I'm fixing to start out with the next Madden, then I might consider it. The thing that always worries me with Madden is there's a certain amount of years, that 21 to 25 range, where they have peak potential to grow. And after that, the growth starts slowing down way tremendously unless you absolutely hit Painter and you've got a guy that's 99 speed, 99 acceleration, type of thing, and he's able to kind of maintain himself and maybe be like the wide receiver like for the Texans, DeMarco, that type of guy. Then you got to look at it. But I think the risk reward for that 23-year-old or 24-year-old going into the next Madden, say if for instance they're a 72 or 74 overall, now you're really only get a peak of like 2 years to really build them at that highest point. And if you have a bad team and going into that next cycle, you may struggle actually getting that guy built, and then basically you've wasted an import. That's kind of the way I look at it, especially if I'm going in with a really well-developed team like the Buffalo Bills to start off this cycle. It's like one of the better teams I'd ever start off with a cycle, and it did pay off. I did get to a bowl game with them and stuff. But I think you're looking at, if you're going into a rebuild, you want to bring in a guy that's young, that maybe has the hidden development or the better ability to grow. That way he can kind of grow with your team, grow with you as you're building in that next cycle. I just think that 23, 24-year-old, that can be almost like a kind of a position or a potential growth killer for your team if you don't watch out, because then you're kind of stuck with that guy, going into that next Madden. And yeah, you can always draft in the next draft, but to me, that's just kind of like a wasted talent that you could bring over for the next 2-3 seasons to help you grow.
Big Hurt, any impact players that you see maybe coming out of this last draft? You took one that I still regret because, man, I would have loved to have him in Madden 26, your second-round pick that I passed up on. But any of these guys you think that will come over to Madden 26 and bring an impact?
I definitely think Priest is bringing that corner that was drafted at number 2, just knowing that in his division he's got Colin, who is a pretty fierce elite passer.
And he lost his real-life guy, too.
Yeah, Jair Alexander's gone. So, but then you got like Justin Jefferson. the Lions have a pretty good passing core. So I think Priest is bringing that guy, just knowing the division and kind of trying to plan of who he's got to go up against. I think there's a couple other guys. I want to say the Broncos drafted a pretty decent D tackle. I'd be interested to see what he does.
Second highest overall.
Yeah. So I think that guy could be somebody. I mean, if you're drafting him in this draft, for me, I think that might be somebody I look into. For me, I am looking at that D tackle. Reason I know the Vikings have made some moves on their front O line and D line, but like Jonathan Allen's pretty old, and so if I can bring a younger D tackle in to fill right in behind him, that's kind of a building long term move. I like it. So not somebody I'm gonna have to rely on right away. I can progress him a little bit, and then get him some playing time while I have some other talent on the line. And then when Allen is going to be, hitting, free agency or retirement or whatever, I've got that guy that can step in and play. And like I said, I like his tangibles. I think you and I were talking in a message about him. He's got some decent 93, 94 strength, something like that, like high 76, 70s speed or something like that. I'd have to go back and look at it to be exact, but I do like what he's got. But I think there's guys there. Maniac's receiver, I think was obviously, he said he's bringing him over, but that's kind of what you anticipate guys to do, is take a guy that's kind of a flyer or somebody that's a project that could bring that second, third player to bring over. That's going to give you, an immediate cheap contract, but somebody that you can rely on and build right away.
Well, hopefully you guys saved enough energy from this high impact, high level energy podcast that we've been doing. I feel like we are at the end of the podcast, end of the cycle. I don't know why. I just had a ladybug land on me. I had a ladybug get in my house.
It's good luck.
It's the South, bro. Those things bite. I don't know. It's the South. If they can get in your house, it will get in your house. Let's wrap it up with this. You're both going to get closing thoughts. We got no mailbag to open up. We'll decide if we want to get back together again a couple more times before some news starts to break about Madden 26. If we got stuff to talk about, then we'll do it. Maybe we'll do a whole show just looking at imports. But both of you are going to get 1 minute to give me your final thoughts. Let's wrap up the cycle in style. Maniac, I'm coming to you first. You got a minute. Go.
All right. Well, even though the cycle kind of ended bad for me, I still enjoyed it. And again, I like seeing the parity in the league. Definitely love seeing Roger getting the playoffs and having success. But I am looking forward to Madden 26 getting started, fresh, new, everything's ready to go. And I'm also, I'm ready to get the college football league going too. I think that game's playing pretty decently. I'm hoping all the other stuff works.
You better knock on wood.
I'm beating on wood, not knocking. I'm beating.
Easy. We don't beat wood around here.
I knew there was something coming from that.
Goodness.
Yeah, I'm excited to get rolling again, and I'm sure like all the wives and the girlfriends are probably not. They're like, you just stop. No, but it is what it is.
You got a minute. Take it over.
I'm just excited to play. I mean, this is kind of my filler for time that I have, free time, and I just enjoy interacting with the guys and late night hockey, even though I'm always, being told that I'm falling asleep and whatnot. But the community is what
he's
I
taking
enjoy,
this sleep thing personal.
Snorlax.
No, it's not personal. I've named my guy. I mean, I've named my guy Snorlax.
Yeah, you did,
and it's fun. We got Ferdinand in the group, so I mean, we got a whole squad over there. It's fun, and there's guys that I think swinging a drive is said it perfectly in a message the other day in our NHL. Like, he appreciates just the late nights when he's needed it most. And I think that speaks volumes to what it is from me in this Madden league. And, I appreciate what this league has done. When I've needed the stress and just to kind of decompress and have fun and get away from life for a moment, I've locked in and played this game. And this game can be stressful, but I've tried not to let it, get to me on the stress side. I've been able to just kind of relax and kind of check out from life for a moment, for an hour, and play a game with, somebody that I know that I'm going to get a quality game and by the rules and stuff. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate this league and the community and the guys that are part of it.
Big Hurt has an elf living in his house somewhere. That's what that sounded like. Freak Maniac are out. He's looking around his own house, see if that little troll was coming to get him. Guys, it's been a great Madden cycle. What up, Alec? When does CFB season start for the OMFL? I have no clue. That's going to be Mr. Maniac question over in the Deuce. Now, the OMFL College League, the guy that messaged right before you runs that. And, Birdman, he said he's going to take a couple weeks to see what exactly is going to happen. I think he started trying to find out who's even going to be playing in the OMFL College League, and they're going to get that thing going. I had a ton of fun over there, but I can't play in 3 football leagues. It's too much football for me. I still want to be able to play shooters from time to time. But I think it's been a great Madden cycle. I appreciate all these guys. Big Hurt, D. Wayne, Maniac, Randy's been a part of the group. Trey forces him way in here every now and then whenever he's in a good mood, which is rare. So that's why he hasn't been here in quite some time. But I appreciate all these guys making out time from their family, taking out time from playing other things, doing other things to give me an hour and a half to come and do the podcast. I appreciate them so very much. We wrapped up a really great Madden cycle for Madden 25. I got a lot of things to go do. We got awards to announce. I got graphics to make. We got the Pro Bowl to announce. We got lots of stuff left to do. So maybe we'll have all that ready for next Sunday, and we'll be able to do like a full award show. And even if the guys don't have time, I can fly by myself and do that. But we'll roll out the Pro Bowl and roll out the final awards, including most improved from Madden 25. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Guys, thank you so much. Come hang out with us. Check out the streams. I'm going to be streaming more college football. Try to stream some shooters in between Madden 26 dropping. And then when Madden 26 does drop, I'm hoping to take the day off and do an entire full day stream or maybe 2-day stream. And we'll do some giveaways, give away some t-shirts, give away some cool stuff. I appreciate all the guys. Our fundraiser is currently going on, and so if you want to help us out, everything goes right back into the league, either into stuff that we need for production or things like that. These guys that help produce, I try to take care of them, whether it's stream overlays or whatever they need. I try to make sure I can take care of as many people as I can, or it goes right back into the Discord or into, storage that we need, or most of it goes into giveaways. So we give away t-shirts, we give away controllers, we give away all kinds of stuff. So if you want to help us be able to do more giveaways and do more cool stuff, if you're an adult gamer and you're looking for connection, community, friends, people that play the things that you like to play, check us out. Details are down in the description. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Remember that you are loved and that you matter. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Until then, God bless.
Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.